This is a pair of speakers that I pulled from an LG OLED 55 E8 PUA 55-inch OLED TV. So like most LG TV speakers, the enclosures here are made of very thick plastic, so you don't get as many resonances or vibrations as you would with other TV speakers. In terms of drivers, we have what looks like a 3/4 inch dome tweeter, which does have a capacitor wired into it, so that makes it much easier to EQ. We have a typical LG mid-range driver with the dots on the cone that help increase the surface area. And then here's something different. You have a 3 or so inch woofer underneath this metal plate and a passive radiator as well. That kind of reminds me of the passive radiator that they used on the UE Mega Booms. And so this is basically how each speaker would have sat in the TV. There'd be a small, obviously, cutout along the bottom bezel of the screen. Obviously you have some foam gasketing here to make sure that the sound only comes out the front and nowhere else. And then with the woofer and passive radiator, we have a design that we've seen pretty often with newer TV speakers, where this metal plate basically covers the woofer or driver underneath. And then, of course, all the sound is channeled out through this little cutout. And then, of course, that sound comes out through the front of the TV, because really, with a screen that big, there's no room for a driver that's maybe, say, 1x3. Whereas with this, you can have a driver really as big as you want. And then the only constraint is just the overall depth or thickness of the TV. So it's a great way to kind of maximize space and therefore maximize the audio quality of the TV. So there you go. Now, are they my best sounding TV speakers? No. I have a few speakers in mind that currently hold that spot, but I will say the design of these things is very clever. The woofer in these things handles power very well for a flat screen TV woofer. I mean, as you could tell in the video, it was at pretty high excursion, but it showed little to no mechanical noise, distortion, and the magnet on the back of it hardly got warm, so very impressive. I do have two complaints. For starters, now, as is the case with all these TV speakers, the amplifiers in the TV had an EQ curve, a DSP that was designed specifically for these drivers. So the best thing we can do is try to create some kind of EQ curve to make these things sound as good as possible. Generally, it's pretty easy. With these, it was pretty hard. This mid-range is very loud. It's very efficient. I have a different pair of LG TV speakers, but they're a two-way that I know a few people have, and they have the same complaint. I'll put a picture of them up right now. But basically, it took a lot of trial and error to get that mid-range on a level that was at least somewhat equal to the woofer and the tweeter. And when you do, it sounds great, but it wasn't easy. And last but not least, these being a pair of TV speakers, they're not very heavy. So having a passive radiator, when that woofer's going, these things are bouncing up and down on the table. The other speaker almost fell off the table twice during this video. But obviously, again, in the TV, these would be screwed down. And if anything, I'm sure that kind of vibration from the woofer and passive radiator would resonate the entire chassis of the TV and kind of add to the effect of deeper bass. So they're very clever speakers. But anyway, thanks for watching. Rate, comment, and subscribe.